Hello guys, welcome back to our anime moment. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of Martial Universe Season 9 Part 68 based on novel. So let's start. Majestic and formidable Yuan power was just like floodwaters as it diffused from the bottom of the light pillar with lightning speed. There was a faint black chi mixed within the Yuan power and a unique fluctuation was emitted. Hovering in midair, when Tang Xinlian and the rest saw this scene, shock flashed across their eyes. Having reached this level, they were naturally well aware of what was going on. This fellow is actually trying to break into the profound death stage at this juncture. A flame divine hall elder involuntarily smacked his lips while his eyes were filled with shock. When attempting to break into the profound death stage, life chi will be deposited together with death chi, and there are countless dangers during this process. Currently, we are in a battlefield. Any interruption will disrupt the equilibrium within his body and the death chi will dissipate. At that time, regardless of how powerful his body is, he will turn into a wither skeleton from within. That's right, what a bold fellow. However, it seems that this is the only option that he has. This fellow is staking everything on this fight. Tang Xinlian bunched her brow together after hearing their conversations. She naturally knew how dangerous Lindong's act was. If he failed, it was likely that the consequences would be extremely dire. All elders, protect him. Do not allow General Lang Mo to disturb him. Tang Xinlian tightened the grip on her fire phoenix spear as she commanded in a deep voice. Right now, if they were to lose the help from Lindong's ancestral symbols, there was no way they could successfully suppress that General Lang Mo. Understood. Many elders nodded and replied. They were impressed by Lindong's courage. Attempting to break into the profound death stage in front of an Yimo. He indeed had courage that exceeded that of an ordinary individual. Tang Xinlian's bright eyes looked at the interior of the light pillar. She could vaguely see a seated figure inside. Although that figure was skinny, she felt as though this man would not falter even if the sky was to collapse. It's no wonder even her usually proud teacher held him in such high regard. Don't worry. With me around, I will not allow him to disturb you. Using an increasing amount of force to grip the fire phoenix spear in her hands, her red lips curled into an enchanting arc while her red curly long hair scattered around like burning flames. Crack! Currently, the countless black lightning chains entwined around General Lang Mo's body were broken. Promptly, a ferocious smile appeared on his huge face. He quickly turned his attention towards a light pillar in the distance. Suddenly, his eyes became cold as he laughed strangely. You are actually thinking of making a breakthrough here? Such wishful thinking. Monstrous demonic chi surged from behind General Lang Mo following his strange laughter. It directly turned into a 10,000 feet large wolf's claw. This claw was covered with golden demonic symbols and even space itself cracked when this claw was swung. Stop him! Tang Xinlian's pretty eyes quickly turned icy after she saw General Lang Mo's attack. She cried out coldly before the surrounding top experts from the Flame Divine Hall replied in Yushan. After which, majestic Yuan power surged and clashed head-on with the 10,000 feet large wolf claw. Bang! A shocking assault wave swept across the sky. Wherever this wave struck, the ground below would be completely flattened. In fact, one would be hard-pressed to even find any pebbles remaining. The 29 figures were pushed back together while their expressions grew increasingly pale. Against General Lang Mo, whose attack was becoming increasingly fearsome as the battle dragged on, they began to fall into a disadvantage. Bang! However, even before they could catch their breath, the space in front once again cracked apart. Monstrous black chi transformed into 10,000 dashing wolves, before they charged towards them from every direction. Tang Xinlian bit her lips with the back of her teeth. She showed no intention of withdrawing within her cold eyes. Instead, the fire phoenix spear in her hand slammed heavily onto the ground. She let out an icy cry and once again commanded the 28 top experts from the Flame Divine Hall and clashed head-on with General Lang Mo. She knew that at this moment, she had to buy time for Lindong. Bang bang bang. An earth-shaking clash erupted in the sky. However, everyone could see that it was only a matter of time before Tang Xinlian's group was defeated by General Lang Mo. Hovering in the sky, the 4 armies of the Flame Divine Hall were watching this fight. However, none of them intervened. After all, they had to maintain the formation in order to suppress General Lang Mo. If they were to randomly intervene, the formation would end up in a mess and they would lose the opportunity to completely suppress General Lang Mo. In the distant battleground, Mu Lan and Elder Kai Yun glanced over from a great distance. However, they could not help them. After all, their opponents were no ordinary individuals. Ha ha, it looks like your side will be the first to lose a fight. In the furthest battleground, King Qianming smiled as he observed the fight below. After which, he looked at Qing Shi and Mo Luo a short distance away and laughed. Suddenly, he pressed his finger gently as he laughed softly. The space itself directly collapsed. A spatial crack hundreds of thousands of feet in size, that looked like a black dragon, was formed. Subsequently, it emitted a swoosh sound and charged towards the Qingji duo with lightning-like speed. Qingji smiled. Clenched his fist, green light surged around him. Promptly, thousands of green dragon-like tattoos appeared. Then, they transformed into an ancient green dragon palm that ruthlessly slammed towards the 100,000 feet large spatial crack. A sea of flames spread across Mo Luo's body. They rotated in a crazy fashion and transformed into a 100,000 feet flame dragon. A destructive force accompanied it and it clashed violently with the 100,000 feet crack that was charging over with lightning-like speed. Boom! A clash at this level, which could easily destroy the world, strangely did not emit a loud sound. The energy entwined with each other and the empty space became distorted. The energy assault wave was extremely quiet. However, even a perfect profound death stage expert would be wiped out if touched by it. A fight at this level was far too terrifying. It is too early for you to jump into conclusions. Countless green dragon-like tattoos formed under Qing Shi's feet. Finally, they turned into a hundreds of thousands of feet large ancient green dragon, which seemed to stretch on endlessly. He looked at King Qianming in the distance and smiled. However, there was an overwhelming and authoritative demeanor within his smile. Bang! Another terrifying energy assault spread and 29 figures flew backwards. Their faces were pale as they spat out blood from their mouths. Meanwhile, their auras also began to weaken at a terrifying rate. Is this all that you are capable of? General Lang Mo looked at Tang Xinlian's group with a ferocious expression and laughed strangely. Tang Xinlian did not reply. Wiping off the blood traces on the corner of her mouth, the cold glint in her bright eyes became even more intense. After struggling briefly to stand up, she grabbed her Fire Phoenix spear and prepared to continue to fight. Girl, you are causing death. Murderous intent flashed within General Lang Mo's eyes. Suddenly, he clenched his hand before a 10,000 feet large black spear was formed. After which, he penetrated through the empty space and appeared in front of Tang Xinlian in a flash. When Tang Xinlian saw this terrifying attack, she clenched her silver teeth and once again prepared to use the crowd's strength to counterattack. Just as Tang Xinlian was about to counterattack, a whistle sounded from the bottom of the distant light pillar. A surging yuan power shot to the clouds like a volcano eruption. Bang! That light pillar turned into the color of black lightning in an instant. After which, it rushed into the 100,000 feet large formation that covered the sky. The huge formation shook at this moment. The eyes of the armies of the Flame Divine Hall, that guarded the 4 corners, were filled with wild joy. The power that they were waiting for had finally arrived. This power. Has he succeeded? Tang Xinlian's bright eyes suddenly turned towards the bottom of the light pillar. Majestic yuan power erupted as the skinny-seated figure finally stood up. The aura emitted from within his body was a lot more powerful than before. Clearly, Lindong had currently broken through to the profound death stage. All 4 armies, listen up. Rotate the formation with all your strength. A joy surged on Tang Xinlian's pretty face. The ancestral symbol's strength that Lindong could activate might only be a small fraction of the total force, however, it was the crucial bit. Only with the addition of his strength was it possible to truly suppress General Lang Mo. Yes. The four armies of the Flame Divine Hall cried out in unison after hearing Tang Xinlian's order. All of them did their best to activate the Yuan power within their bodies before they poured it into the formation. Rumble. The 10,000 feet large formation rotated slowly as black lightning gathered at the middle of the formation. Vast and mighty ocean-like Yuan power continuously merged with it. Swoosh! The formation shook abruptly. It was possible to see a 10,000 feet large black lightning chain suddenly whistling and shooting out from the center. This chain was extremely large while black and lightning light symbols covered its surface. A strange energy was hidden within. Humph! Skywolf Demon Shield. A dense cold glint flashed within the eyes of General Lang Mo. He suddenly roared towards the sky. Monstrous demonic chi swept out and actually transformed into an incomparably large black demon shield. There was a wolf devouring the moon on his shield, and that demonic image looked extremely ferocious. An immovable momentum spread. Swoosh! The black lightning chains, which harnessed the strength of all four Flame Divine Hall armies, penetrated through the empty space at a shocking speed. It struck heavily against the black demonic shield in front of many anxious pair of eyes. Clang! An incompatibly loud metallic sound spread before many spatial cracks spread in the sky. Soon after, everyone could see some cracked lines rapidly spreading across the demon shield. Bang! Black lightning chains broke the demon shield like furious dragons. Finally, it emitted a whistle and arrived in front of General Lang Mo, whose eyes were filled with disbelief. Then, it ruthlessly struck on his body and penetrated it. Sizzle sizzle. The black lightning chain was just like a huge dragon that lingered over Lang Mo's huge body. After which, it penetrated his body. Black light symbols and lightning symbols quietly entered his body. They were just like maggots that adhered onto the interior of his body. His monstrous demonic chi quickly disappeared. Lang Mo's 10,000 feet body was swiftly shrinking at a shocking speed. Finally, a light pillar shot downwards from the formation and enveloped him. His earth-shaking-like aura finally disappeared completely at this moment. The four armies in the sky were completely pale. When they saw that Lang Mo was trapped within the light pillar and could not move, a wild joy surged on their face a moment later. Cheers erupted and resounded across the sky. After giving everything they had, they finally succeeded in suppressing this terrifying enemy. The light pillar descended from the sky. Within that solid prison-like glowing column, General Lang Mo's body was surrounded and entwined by black lightning chains. These chains seemed to have penetrated deep into his body and hooked onto his bones. Many black glowing lightning symbols continuously surged from these chains, before they finally entered his body and suppressed his monstrous-like demon aura. Swoosh! The light pillar that shot directly to the clouds gradually shrunk at this moment. Finally, it turned into 100 feet large light pillar prison. For spiritual figures lingered over walls of the light pillar. At the same time, the black lightning chains were extended and connected onto the light pillar, forming a perfect cycle which completely sealed General Lang Mo. Hovering in the sky, when Tang Xinlian's group saw General Lang Mo being sealed, a relieved smile appeared on their pale face. Soon after, they were unable to hold on any longer as their bodies began to show signs of collapsing. The huge fight previously had exhausted almost all their energy. Crash! Those four armies from the Flame Divine Hall all fell onto the ground at this moment. Many Flame Divine Hall's disciples also became extremely weak because their Yuan power was depleted. Bang bang! General Lang Mo was still struggling manically within the light pillar seal, and it looked like he was howling in rage. However, his voice could not escape. It was clear that it was difficult for him to escape after having his demonic chi sealed. Tang Xinlian's pretty face appeared exceptionally pale. Although she was also extremely weak, she still forced herself to stand. Subsequently, she began to issue orders in an orderly fashion and instructed the four armies to take turns to rest. The other top experts in the Flame Divine Hall also used this opportunity to recuperate their Yuan power under her orders. Countless individuals outside the Flame Divine City were somewhat shocked as they stared at the Flame Divine Hall army which whizzed across the city's sky. Shock surged in many of their eyes. Even powerful individuals from established and famous factions in the chaotic demon sea had admiration-filled eyes, as they stared at that bright and enchanting figure. Tang Xinlian might not be the strongest expert in the Flame Divine Hall. However, during that astounding fight, she was obviously the number one reason why Flame Divine Hall was able to seal that abnormally powerful fellow. The Flame Fairy of the Flame Divine Hall truly lived up to her reputation. Everyone quietly exclaimed within their hearts. Although the glory during the previous competition was undoubtedly snatched by Lindong, Tang Xinlian was the most dazzling existence in this even more frightening battle. With her as their successor, it seems like the Flame Divine Hall did not have to worry about its future. Moreover, Tang Xinlian was also extremely talented. Hence, given enough time, she would definitely become a top expert in the entire chaotic demon sea. At that time, if Mo Lua retired and passed the blazing ancestral symbol to her, it was likely that she would become a domineering Flame Divine Hall queen, whom no one would dare underestimate. Tang Xinlian held her Fire Phoenix spear and stood in midair. When she heard the overwhelming cheers and praises from outside the city, she was slightly startled. Immediately, she lowered her head to look at the young man below, who had dragged his equally tired body to sit at a corner and rest on some of the rubble. The latter lifted his head to look at her as well. Promptly, a brilliant smile appeared on his face as he gave Tang Xinlian a thumbs up. Even someone like him was convinced after witnessing Tang Xinlian's performance. When Tang Xinlian saw Lindong's brilliant smile, her pretty face reddened slightly. She knew that Lindong had put in an equal amount of effort into this fight. However, the latter did not step forward to claim the glory, which would allow his name to be renowned across the chaotic demon sea. Instead, he sat quietly in the shadows and gave all the glory to her. He knew that the result of this big battle would solidify her position in the Flame Divine Hall. In fact, it would even be of great help to her when she takes over the Flame Divine Hall in the future. This man was indeed a little special. Tang Xinlian gently bit her red lips while a mysterious feeling flashed across her heart. Soon after, she felt her face becoming slightly hot. The usually valiant-looking flame fairy looked extremely enchanting at this moment. Lindong leaned against some of the rubble. His chest rose and fell slowly. His somewhat ragged breathing suggested that he was in quite a bad condition currently. Although he successfully broke into the profound death stage during that critical moment previously, he did not have enough time to stabilize his condition. As a result, his level was currently a superficial one. If he was careless, there was a good chance that he might slip back into the profound life stage. Big brother Lindong, are you all right? Mu Lingshan's small and delicate figure appeared beside Lindong and asked in a worried tone. Others might be unaware of what Lindong did, but she clearly knew. Lindong smiled and shook his head. However, his pale expression clearly made it unconvincing. Mu Lingshan could only pout upon seeing this. However, she did not say anything else. It is indeed worthy of being a Yimo general. It is really difficult to deal with. Lindong's eyes looked into the distant light pillar prison before he involuntarily sighed. A joyous pride surged into his heart. That was equivalent to an ultimate samsara stage expert. Back at the unique Devil City, Ancestor Fen Tian had sacrificed his life in order to seal an Yimo general. Now, he had also accomplished a similar feat. Although a huge part must be attributed to the fact that the Flame Divine Hall poured in all their strength, it was also obvious that Lindong played an important role. Moreover, Lindong also believed that one day, he would be able to suppress and seal a terrifying opponent like that on his own. Swish! A brilliant figure came rushing over in the sky while Lindong was feeling emotional in his heart. After which, the figure landed beside him. The latter's pretty eyes shot towards Lindong and appeared unusually gentle. It was a far cry from the valiant demeanor that she usually carried. Why? With so many responsibilities, can you afford to step away? Lindong looked at Tang Xinlian and laughed. Currently, the strength of the Flame Divine Hall is exhausted. There is no longer a need to do anything. It is fine to leave it to the elders. Tang Xinlian pushed aside the red hair that fell in front of her breast and softly said, "Thank you very much. I am the owner of an ancestral symbol and I am natural enemies with these Yimo. Lindong shook his head and laughed. Moreover, it is too early to thank me now. We have merely sealed a Yimo general. There are still 2 Yimo generals and an even more terrifying Yimo king remaining. That is nothing that we can do. Tang Xinlian said somewhat helplessly. Just dealing with an Yimo general had exhausted all their strength. As of now, they are unable to summon any more strength to intervene in any other battleground. Lindong nodded. Currently, he no longer possessed any strength after experiencing that big battle from before. How the situation plays out depends entirely on Master and Elder Qingxi. Tang Xinlian lifted her head. Her bright eyes looked towards the battle in the distant sky and muttered. Ha ha, King Qianming, it seems like your side is the first to lose a fight. Qingxi glanced at the ground from the distant sky and laughed. The smile originally on distant King Qianming's face had diminished greatly. It was likely that he had not expected General Lang Mo to be defeated by the Flame Divine Hall. It seems like this king has underestimated your Flame Divine Hall. Mo Luo parted his lips into a smile. He stared at King Qianming in a malicious manner and said, "Relax, just capturing an Yimo general alone cannot satisfy us. I am indeed unable to defeat the both of you together. However, do you think that you can stop me if I want to leave?" King Qianming laughed. His laughter was filled with ridicule. "I'm afraid that it is not going to be a simple feat for you to leave today." Qingxi laughed. King Qianming narrowed his eyes. He laughed coldly and said, "Qingxi, you might have advanced into the reincarnation stage, but who do you think you are? One of the 8 masters from the ancient times? It is likely that those people are all caught up in their reincarnation." Qingxi smiled slightly. The long hair on his back was scattered. His eyes gradually became bright and clear. The 100,000 feet large green dragon under his feet roared towards the sky. Green light spread and turned into a green light plate that was hundreds of thousands of feet in size. The entire world dimmed when the green light plate was scattered. The land became completely charred black and it seemed like the natural Yuan power vaguely began to rage. Mu Lan and Elder Kai Yun in the sky, who were fighting with the 2 other Yimo generals, also halted. This was because the 100,000 feet large green light plate had also enveloped them. "Is this?" Kai Yun frowned. Mu Lan's eyes were narrowed. As if he seemed to have recalled something, the expression in his eyes changed. Qingxi stepped on the 100,000 feet large light plate under his feet and smiled towards King Qianming in the distance. He said, "King Qianming, may I know if you have heard of this item?" "What?" King Qianming looked at the hundreds of thousands of feet large green light plate and asked in a faint voice. "King destroying heavenly plate." King Qianming's eyes shrunk abruptly before the space behind him exploded apart. It was the first time his expression changed this quickly. Clearly, he felt genuine danger from this so-called king-destroying heavenly plate that Qingxi mentioned. The 6th-ranked item on the ancient divine item list, king-destroying heavenly plate. Mo Luo was startled at this moment. Clearly, even he did not know about this. "Yes. I have searched for many years before I finally found it in an ancient battlefield." Qingxi nodded and laughed. Joy surged within Mo Luo's eyes. This king-destroying heavenly plate was a terrifying divine object even in the ancient times. After all, it had genuinely killed king-rank Yimos before. However, Mo Luo suddenly thought of something as he frowned and said, "Based on what I know, in order to use the king-destroying heavenly plate to kill an Yimo king, it will require, for ancestral symbols, enchanting it." Qingxi smiled and nodded. "However, on our side, there are only 3 ancestral symbols even if we include the 2 ancestral symbol with Lindong." Qingxi shook his head. He stared at Mo Luo's hand and smiled. He said, "No, we have 4 of them." 4? Mo Luo was startled. He was in disbelief as he stared at a smiling Qingxi. He involuntarily exclaimed, "Does that mean that you have obtained an ancestral symbol as well? However, why can't I detect it? There are only 8 ancestral symbols in this world. How can it be so easy to obtain one? Moreover, it is also no easy feat for an ancestral symbol to acknowledge you as its owner. Not everyone can become the owner of one." Do you think that everyone is as lucky as you or Lindong? Qingji helplessly shook his head and said. Then, Mo Luo frowned. Just who had the fourth ancestral symbol? Swoosh! Two light figures rushed over from the area below. Mu Lan and Elder Kai Yun appeared beside the Qingji duo. Mu Lan glanced at this enormous light plate that enveloped the sky. He hesitated for a moment before asking, "You going to use that thing?" The Yimo King is their strongest warrior. Since we have met one, we must definitely kill it. Qingji's eyes narrowed. An extremely sharp murderous intent flashed across his eyes. However, it is rumored that this king-destroying heavenly plate needs to be enchanted with 4 ancestral symbols, in order to be able to kill a Yimo king. Elder Kai Yun spoke in a somewhat hesitant manner. This divine object was created by the symbol ancestor. Back then, the world experienced a great calamity. The symbol ancestor used the 8 great ancestral symbols to enchant the king-destroying heavenly plate. After which, the light plate covered the land and killed 8 Yimo kings in one fell swoop. Qingji smiled. He quickly looked towards Mu Lan and said, "We will need to ask Brother Mu Lan for the 4th ancestral symbol." Mo Luo and Elder Kai Yun were startled. Their eyes were promptly thrown towards Mu Lan. The latter's expression was complicated as he sighed and looked at the ground below. There was a delicate figure located at that spot. My immortal sage whale does indeed have an ancestral symbol. Mo Luo duo revealed a startled expression upon hearing these words. It was likely that this was the first time that they came to learn of it. May I know which of the 8 great ancestral symbols does the immortal sage whale clan possess? Mo Luo spoke in a deep voice. Mu Lan was quiet. He softly said, "Life-death ancestral symbol." Mo Luo's eyes shrunk. His voice carried a little shock, the life-death ancestral symbol that allow its owner to live forever. The symbol that will never be destroyed. There is nothing that truly lives forever in this world. Even someone as powerful as the symbol ancestor eventually disappeared from this world. Hence, even less need to be said of an ancestral symbol that was created in this world. Mu Lan laughed bitterly. The Life-Death Master, who was one of the 8 great ancestral symbol owners, is an ancestor of our immortal sage whale clan. She died from serious injury back then. My clan placed her corpse at the deepest part of the chaotic demon sea. When we cleaned her tomb 100 years ago, we discovered a glowing light emitted from it. Then, our clan found a black and white light egg. Moreover, the body of the ancestor had also disappeared along with the life-death ancestral symbol. Mu Lan's eyes stared at the delicate small figure on the ground and said, after which, the egg was secretly taken care of by our clan and a little girl eventually emerged from it. Mo Luo inhaled a breath of cool air and asked, "Is it that girl, Mu Lingshan?" "I?" Mu Lan nodded. This, Elder Kai Yun widened his mouth. He asked hesitantly, "Is that girl your immortal sage whale clan's ancestor or the life-death ancestral symbol?" Mu Lan smiled bitterly. His expression was uncertain. She should be the life-death ancestral symbol. Standing beside him, Qingji said. He glanced at Mu Lan and continued, "Back then, the life-death master was far too seriously wounded. Even though she tried to reincarnate, she failed to do so. Hence, the life-death master should have completely disappeared from this world. Mu Lingshan, who was born from the light egg, should be the actual life-death ancestral symbol." An ancestral symbol? How did it become a human? Elder Kai Yun asked incredulously. Every ancestral symbol has a spirit. However, it is indeed rare that an ancestral symbol would appear in human form. Moreover, even Mu Lingshan herself does not know that she is the life-death ancestral symbol. Although our ancestor has died, she clearly had a mysterious connection with the life-death mysterious symbol. It is precisely this connection that led to Mu Lingshan's birth. Mu Lan explained. Currently, Mu Lingshan possessed the body of our immortal sage whale clan, while being the life-death ancestral symbol at the same time. This mutation is the first of its kind in the world. Mo Luo was amazed as he nodded. It was likely that he did not expect the life-death ancestral symbol to hold such a secret. Mo Chen fondled his chin and said, "In that case, it explains why that girl is so close to Lindong. It is likely because of his devouring ancestral symbol." Qingji smiled and said, "It is rumored that when the 8 great ancestral symbols were born during the ancient times, the life-death ancestral symbol was the last to appear. As it was small and weak, the devouring ancestral symbol swallowed it into its body and provided it with energy. Only after the life-death ancestral symbol grew up, did it leave the devouring ancestral symbol." Elder Kai Yun's old face appeared quite strange. Why did it appear as though the devouring ancestral symbol was pregnant with the life-death ancestral symbol? Just what was the relationship between the two? Mu Lan laughed bitterly. "The relationship between the ancestor of my clan, the life-death master, and that of the devouring master was fairly awkward during the ancient times. As the owner of an ancestral symbol, one would more or less be influenced by it." Mo Luo nodded. He understood this quite well, given that he was also an owner of an ancestral symbol. However, word of this must not spread. Although Lingshan is the life-death ancestral symbol, she has yet to awaken her true strength. Thus, if the Yimo comes to learn of it, things would end up becoming quite troublesome. Relax, activating the king-destroying heavenly plate will only require the enchantment of 4 ancestral symbols. There is no need to activate their strength. Moreover, I will also use my reincarnation strength to set up a disturbance. Hence, no one other than me will know. Qingji said. Mu Lan nodded after hearing this. Qingji stopped speaking after the explanation came to an end. He waved his hand before the green light plate, that covered the world, began to slowly rotate. The light plate was like an endless sea surface. Green light rose and a ripple that could seemingly destroy the world stealthily gathered. King Qianming and the other 2 Yimo generals on the other side of the light plate stared at this scene with grave expressions. It was clear that the name King-destroying heavenly plate had quite a strong deterring effect on them. Humph, the king-destroying heavenly plate might be powerful, but it requires the enchantment of ancestral symbols. There is only one blazing ancestral symbol here. You must be dreaming if you want to kill me. Demonic chi surged within King Qianming's eyes. Slowly spreading the pair of demonic wings on his back, his purple gold line spread and blotted out the sun. In the distance, Qingji clenched his hand. The hundreds of thousand feet large green light plate suddenly trembled gently. Layers of green light withdrew from the middle of the light plate before a green light ray suddenly shot out. Finally, it transformed into a palm-sized green jade plate. The jade plate was like the full moon, it was crystal clear and beautiful. Mo Luo. Qingji's eyes looked at Mo Luo the moment the green jade plate appeared. The latter nodded solemnly. The flame symbol on his brow suddenly burned before bright red flames penetrated through the sky and shot onto the green jade plate. Hum hum. There was a mysterious line on the green jade plate as the light of the flame shone. A mysterious symbol quietly appeared. You dare to call it the King Destroyer with just the enchantment of a single blazing ancestral symbol. King Qianming laughed coldly when he saw this scene. Qingji completely ignored his cold laughter. Slowly shutting both his eyes, an invisible ripple quietly spread from the green jade plate. Seated within the city rubles below, Lindong lifted his head to look at the green light plate enveloping the sky. The scene within was completely isolated and no one was able to see what was going on. Meanwhile, the surrounding sky also became extremely dark and it seemed as if all light had vanished at the moment. Huh? Lifting his head to look at the sky, Lindong's eyes suddenly hardened. He could detect a special ripple being suddenly emitted from within the space itself. Subsequently, it wrapped around him. The 2 ancestral symbols within his body emitted a slight tremor after he was wrapped by the ripple. Lindong, relax. I am borrowing the strength of your ancestral symbols to kill King Qianming. Qingji's voice suddenly resounded beside Lindong's ears as his expression was altered. This led him to quietly sigh in relief. Next, he relaxed the suppression he had placed on the ancestral symbols within his body. Buzz! A black light and a thunderbolt suddenly whizzed out from his body after Lindong stopped resisting. After which, they disappeared in a flash. Truly powerful. Lindong involuntarily let out a praise upon seeing this. He could sense that the thunderbolt ancestral symbol within his body and the devouring ancestral symbol had weakened tremendously at this moment. Clearly, their energy were being extracted from them. Lindong suddenly sensed a strange fluctuation appearing beside him while he praised. He hurriedly turned his head and was shocked to find Mu Lingshan's small body suddenly emitting a strange black and white light. Big brother Lindong. Elder Qingji says that he wants to borrow my powers. Fatigue seemed to have surged within Mu Lingshan's large eyes at this moment. Her body staggered and she actually fell towards Lindong after uttering those words. The latter hurriedly caught her upon seeing this. However, Lindong's expression changed drastically when his hand touched Mu Lingshan's body, which was emitting a black and white light. This was because he detected a surging and indescribably pure energy crazily rushing into his body like floodwater. The energy was filled with pure life-death qi. These two completely different energies were perfectly merged together. Lindong was a little stunned as he stared at Mu Lingshan, who had fell into his embrace. His body, which was exhausted of yuan power, was once again filled with energy. This incomparably pure life-death qi was actually being transmitted from within Mu Lingshan's body. Moreover, what puzzled him the most was that the energy within her body did not discriminate against him. Is this? A confused Lindong held Mu Lingshan's delicate and soft body. He lowered his head to look at her exquisite small face. His eyes shrunk a moment later. He could see a black and white symbol slowly appearing on Mu Lingshan's forehead. He knew that symbol. This was because it was one of the 8 great ancestral symbols. Life-death ancestral symbol. This video will end here.